Hey guys, it's Micro Poker Joe here from Micro Poker Mania, and as promised, we're going to take a look at 10 big blinds or less shoving in the Step 1 Fun tournaments. Now, because the payout structure is pretty unique, meaning that first, second, and third advance to Step 2, there's no real incentive, as I mentioned in the article, to accumulate a lot of chips. Therefore, it makes sense that you want to take less risks, and therefore it makes sense that your shoving ranges are going to be tighter. And today we're going to take a quick look at how tight they actually should be at 10 big blinds or less. First thing you're going to want to do is make the structure for these in order to analyze them. So if you go to Tools and User Defined Tournament Structures, it'll pull up a window. And I've actually already set this up, but I'll show you how to do it. All you'd have to do is click Add a Structure, and you'll see it pop up over here on the left hand side. And then under that structure you can have the general settings, the blinds, and the payouts. So for the general settings in these, you start off with 1,000 chips, there's 10 players at the table, and there's only one table. The blind levels go as follows: 5, 10, 10, 20, 15, 30, 25, 50, 50, 100, and so on. And then as you can see, the payouts, we have basically a third for third, second, and first place. I did want to have them add up to 100, so I just put it at 34 for first place, which shouldn't really affect any of the calculations in a way that would be significant. It might be just like very, very tiny fractions of a fraction, so I don't really think we should worry about that. I just wanted to make sure that it added up to 100%. So now what we can do is analyze a new game. So when we analyze a new game, it'll ask us for the site. We'll choose Carbon, which I think they have that on here. Actually, it's considered merge. So we'll go to merge, tournament structure. We can select our. I thought we would be able to select our. Oh, that's right, I accidentally put it under cake. It doesn't really matter, although these are on merge, so I would kind of want to, for my own future purposes, make sure this is set up right. So instead of cake, I'm going to click merge. Hopefully that should show up now under. If not, we can figure it out. So merge, and then structure, step ones, yeah, good. So this is that tournament structure that we defined. And let's go to the, let's say 5100 level, and let's say there's 6 players left. So at 6 players left, obviously there's still 10,000 chips in play. So we will give us a stack of, and this is going to be 10 big blinds. Let's see here. So this would be like the under the gun player. And we said we want to have, what, 6 players left? So we'll put the person in the big blind with the remaining amount, which would be 5,000. And well, in this scenario, like the last person that you enter is going to be the big blind, small blind, button, and so forth on back up. So in this scenario, let's say we are in the button, so we'll pick that. And it will give us a kind of a questionable hand of whether or not we want to shove with 10 big blinds. Let's say a hand like Ace 8 offsuit. So here we go. In a normal sit and go structure, wait, we have the blinds at 100, 200. We want them in at 50, 100. I don't know how that happened. So in a normal structure, this would actually be a spot that would be a good spot to shove in. Now, one thing you should note about Sit and Go Wizard is that it creates models and averages as far as what they assume the call percentages are going to be for the small blind and big blind. Now the big blind in this case, it says, is only calling 13%. If we click on that and look at it, it's really fairly tight. I'm guessing at a fun step where you have a crazy guy in the big blind, he's going to be calling much, much wider than this. He might even be calling like 30% of hands or something like this. So if we give him that percentage and we keep the small blind at like, I don't know, 15% or so, it's important to play around with these percentages a bit, but also note that these are basically what's going to affect your shoving ranges, is what they're going to be calling with. Because if they're only calling with like pocket aces, for example, it becomes profitable to push because they're folding so often that the amount of times that we steal the blinds from them folding outweighs the time when they have aces and they're going to call us. And obviously, as they call wider, we have to shove narrower. But so as you can see, with 10 big blinds from the button here, with a crazy big stack in the big blind, the only thing we can profitably shove here is pocket eights or better, ace jack and ace 10 suited, which is really quite a narrow range. Let's say he's not quite as spewy or crazy, like mid 20%. It pretty much doesn't change. We add pocket jack or pocket sevens in there, but in general, something like pocket eights or ace jack suited or better is going to be what we would shove in this spot in this tournament structure. Now, how does this change if we change tournament structures? And you'll see it'll change quite dramatically. So again, remember the 7.5 shove percentage of a big stack here. Now let's change to our typical no limit hold'em 9 max structure. And as you can see, our range widens a bit. Pocket fives, ace 10, ace 9 suited. So once you've set up the structure like this and played around with a few of these percentages, another thing you can do is play around with the stack size instead of playing around with percentages. So let's say this guy has 4,900. So he's the big stack, is to our right, and this guy only has 1,000. Oh, sorry, this guy has 5,000. So you can see how the percentages change based on whether we have a big stack or a short stack to our left. As you can see, we can now shove wider if he's calling with 30% as opposed to if it was a big stack. And the reason for this is if we get in a clash, one of the outcomes is that this player will be eliminated. So that helps our equity quite a bit. Whereas if the big stack was to our left, we would only double up and he would not be eliminated, even though he would take a chunk out of his stack. The big difference there is the fewer chips you have, the more valuable those chips are. That has to do with the ICM model. So if we change him to kind of a reasonable, like 17%-ish, ace 8 is actually still a fold here. There's probably some kind of range in which it's profitable for us to shove, and it's probably going to be if he's really, really snug at like 10% or less. So as you can see, once we get down to this range, our range widens quite a bit. And in general, in this situation, I think this is a hand that is just fine to let go of because of the nature of these tournaments, because people just like knock each other out and pass you equity so easily in these things. And because this is just in general a very borderline play. Chip preservation is more important than chip accumulation. So I hope you guys have learned a little bit something from this video. I would highly recommend checking out Sit and Go Wizard if you want to get good at sit and go tournaments, especially late game and shove or fold situations. Analyzing tournaments with tools like this is really, really helpful.